Did he ever explain what he was trying to do?
And he was gonna go kill him.
He could have just left him in the car and let him starve to death.
Yeah, but then he would have been out of car.
Nightmare.
Welcome back to Trees in Space, the show where we boldly go where no reviewer has gone before, through every genre, fueled by fan opinions, questionable nostalgia, and our own hot takes. This week on Trees in Space, Jason and I watched the 2025 rated R thriller horror Locked.
I wouldn't really call this a horror, but it was definitely a suspense thriller. And I guess when you have a recipe that works for a lot of movies, which this same recipe has, you try it in every kind of situation.
Isn't this pretty much like phone booth in a car?
Oh, it exactly phone booth in a car, except for there's no one else involved in it besides him and the Michael, no William on the
William.
phone.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and tell you all at home what this movie is about before we get into what this movie is. Uh, when Eddie breaks into a luxury SUV, he steps into a deadly trap set by William, a self proclaimed vigilante delivering his own brand of twisted justice. With no means of escape, Eddie must fight to survive in a ride where escape is an illusion. Survival is a nightmare, and justice shifts into high gear.
First thing I'm gonna say, obviously, I'm saying this, but I could have got out of the car.
Relax. All right? My old man is a television repairman. Got this ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I believe in my beings of beings, I could get out of the car. I'm not saying I can take one-on-one a kangaroo or a big dog or any of the things that manly men say, but I really believe I could have got out of that car.
I don't know if I would. I could have. I mean, maybe. I probably would have tried. Like having that crowbar was probably the most valuable tool in his arsenal. The only thing that kind of really sucked is when William figured out that Eddie was up to some shit and decides to electrocute him.
Hmm.
Like that would be the only difficult part is just trying to maintain what you're doing while being
Well,
electrocuted.
because that's true, but before he was being electrocuted, or but what happened, but it seems to me, and I could be wrong, I'm not sure exactly how electricity works, but I'm gonna guess there's some sort of wires going through the seats of the vehicle. And then I'm gonna guess that it's covered by some sort of leather or nice soft interior because it's a nice seat. And you have a crowbar with a sharp end, which you can tear into the seat.
Hmm.
I would have guessed you could do that
I see where you're going.
and
Okay.
possibly short circuit that. So you might not get out of the vehicle, but you can stop the torture
Hey,
because he figured it all out at the end with his foot thing, which is
oh my God, the fingernail break.
God, work.
oh
Oh,
my god!
that was so gross. Oh, I
It's the
gagged.
only memorable part of this movie.
Oh, and when old boy decides to actually drink his own urine, I had
Oh,
to
I
look away. I could like I looked at the very end, like the last like 1.5 seconds or whatever, and I was like I just
yes, because he's trapped in the thing, and I mean, there's a few things that's just odd about this movie, but that one, because he goes to it twice, if I remember correctly. The first time he looks at it like this, and I fast forward it. I hit 15-second fast forward. The next thing, nothing's going on. Then the second time, I'm like, I ain't watching that. I hit it again, and I caught it like you did, the end of him.
you
I'm like, ugh.
know,
But he He was in this car for what, 5 days?
Yeah. And in the movie time, 50 minutes is when this movie starts to get really good because that's
Hmm.
when the car leaves. So
Yes.
like
Well,
the first 50 minutes of this movie, like the beginning of this movie, he's in a auto shop, Eddie, and he's trying to
mhm.
get his car and he only has $350, but I think they wanted like 475 or something.
They wouldn't say 475 more. They wanted 700 and change.
Oh.
Yeah, and that was, and I'm like, he's getting robbed, but well, and you talk about the beginning, and he has his daughter. I like how they didn't tell, they showed his situation.
Yeah.
They did a very good job of showing what kind of person he is.
Right. And he's a dodgy kind of guy who just steals stuff to sell it to somebody else. Like that's what he
Hmm.
does. And that's how he got into this freaking car. And I don't
He
know.
wasn't going to steal the car, by the way. He was going to steal something in the car.
Right. And I guess my question, like, if you're gonna be quick, why would you shut the door? Like, open
That's
the
a bigger
door,
question.
peep in right quick, take whatever you see, shut the door, and go. Like, he
And,
was in there way too long.
and I'm thinking the one time he almost got rescued by the young lady who put lipstick on in the thing. He's banging on it. Now, I don't know what technology you have where you can bang on something and it can't be seen as a vibration or a little bit of a sound on the outside of that
Yeah.
if you're that close. But it's an actual car and it drives, so it has shocks. So I'm figuring if he would have shook back and forth, that thing would have shook too.
I don't know. That car is amazing because the other part to this is that son of a bitch is an electric car, right?
Hmm.
It is driving all night.
Yeah.
How the hell does that car have that long of a charge? And it's reading some peak speeds. 'Cause they're doing like 80 in New York at moments, I think.
And the air conditioner was below freezing and the heater in there was above 100. I was like,
Yeah.
what the
And all the phone calls.
f-? And the music playing for whatever. I mean, that they did a really good job of showing that part of the torture that he was going through.
Yeah.
Because the guy who owns the car, we should tell people that he's not sadistic, or he is, but he apparently had that same car robbed like 5 times, and the cops will never do anything. So he set up a trap for the next person that would steal his car, but he didn't want to steal his car. He just wanted to steal something out of his car.
Right.
Um, and I did like I like he took the gun. He goes, "Fuck you," whatever. And he shoots it. Shoots himself in the leg, and then he puts a tourniquet on. It's like, what are you doing?
Uh, that whole thing, like, I thought it was kind of funny. Like, I think I would have handled it totally different. I
Yeah,
don't know if I would have been like so angry, pissed off. Like,
I know. He was. Yeah,
you're trapped. You can't go anywhere. So why get so fucking pissed off that you gotta swear at this dude and like you know it just it probably would have gone out if you just tried to catch honey with flies.
yeah. You catch more flies. Yeah, he said he don't like you cussing, but and every time he say he's gonna do it again, he does it again, and he does it again, and he and I still have a really hard time believing the way he gets out of this is because he pulls that little lever at the bottom with his toe because his hand barely fit in there to get his finger to it. How does his foot fit in there?
Yeah.
But anyways, do you think this guy who went through all this trouble would have left a open panel in order to access that? That doesn't make much sense to me. But I
I
guess you have a way out of there.
well, he left open the compartment with the tire iron.
Well, because he knew it was unbreakable.
Yeah, but you can still destroy some shit inside the car that you now have to
Mm.
replace and get laundered somehow because there's blood.
That's true. That's another thing near the end of the movie. I don't understand why he pulled up that electric car driving everywhere to that parking lot for him to get into it. Does he ever explain what he was trying to do?
I think he was gonna go kill him.
He could have just left him in the car and let him starve to death.
Yeah, but then he would have been out of car.
That's true. And the one scene where he's driving the car, the guy who's the evil person, which is, by the way, Anthony Hopkins.
Hmm.
Um, and he runs over those two people who I guess they were mugging this other guy. He hits the first dude, just runs. I did like that. That body just right underneath it. And the second guy gets up to the cages, whatever. He could have easily went to the side where you know, and he can't make that turn. He'd have to like just to get to him. He could have said that was not. If they would have had a straight alley, that'd make more sense. But where that gate was to the right, here's the gate. He could have snuck back over that way and been a lot safer than in front of a freaking 3,000 pound automobile going 80 miles an hour at him.
It was so messed up when he was like, if he gets up completely up, I'll let you go. He just gets just barely up enough where his head is at
Mm-hmm.
bumper level, and then I was like,
If I slam, oh,
oh my god, why? Like, what is
he's
it?
such he's such a psychopath. Because it's hard to talk about this movie in the whole because it's an hour and a half long. But
Mhm.
like you said, 50 minutes is just the one guy in the car trying to get out of the car and having a conversation. A little backstory. Like you said, phone booth.
Yeah,
Or many other movies that have done this where someone's locked up in one place where someone's torturing, like Saw, but not to that level.
I meant to look up how old Anthony Hopkins is, but this role for him
76,
is he? He's
I'm
only that
guessing.
old. He
I'm
looks
gonna guess.
way older than that.
Let's find out. How old is Anthony Hopkins?
Anthony Hopkins is 87 years old.
So
87 years old.
he's 87. This movie is perfect for him. He gets to
Hmm.
sit in a booth and just talk his lines. He only really has to walk, what, 10 feet?
Hmm.
He gets to sit in the car, and they probably have it on a freaking trailer. So he's not even
Hmm.
really probably driving. You know, that's not a bad gig.
It's not a bad gig. And the gentleman Eddie, who's in the vehicle,
Yep.
um, I don't care. At the end, and I'm trying not to ruin anything here, but his rotator cuffs are
Um,
gone.
yo, he's
His shoulders are gone.
I think he would have had severe enough trauma to where his neck would have snapped all the way back.
I think so. I think the hand tie things would have snapped in that crash at the end because um
And
but and I didn't
there's
like
no
the
seatbelts.
gun. Yeah,
Neither of them had seatbelts.
well he
There's
can where
no
he was
way.
tied down, but
There's no way they were surviving that.
mm-mm. Um and then of course he brings the little girl into there and stuff, and I'm just like, this dude's not gonna do this, not really. And at the very end, I'm like, dude, you got a lot of faith in your ability to remote control a car to come that close.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the very next day, the little girl's out there waiting for the dad because the cops aren't there, like making sure someone's not trying to kill this child. I mean, I wouldn't. My kid would not be back in school the next day.
I guess that's fair. And with that, let's go ahead and get into the 5-star and 1-star or less reviews. The first 5-star review comes from Timothy E. An awesome movie. This movie should have come out a long time ago when they was hijacking a lot of cars back in the days. Anybody who likes to steal cars should watch this movie.
Who likes to steal cars?
Yep, if you like to steal cars, watch this movie.
I just like how he spelled it.
That should be
Um,
the tagline.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird because he spelled still Still, which kind of that's what got me confused. People who like this an STE, it doesn't matter. Um, so okay, Mr. Who was that?
Timothy E.
Timothy. And what does he mean back in the day when a lot of people were stealing cars? Still, people are still stealing cars. It's just okay. The first 1-star or less review comes from Hank E. This is my first review ever. Oh, sorry, this is my first ever review. I'm posting this because I hated this movie so much. I thought I would dip after the first hour, but I made the mistake of staying until the end. The premise was stupid. I hated both characters. The protagonist had not one redeeming quality. Don't waste your time. Smash your head into the dashboard instead.
Hey, this movie went for it, okay?
It did.
It took a concept completely original and made it its own. The next 5-star comes from Brian A. Fun B movie with A-level acting and directing. Loved it.
Brian, I that's fair. I would consider it probably a B movie, but to me, a B movie don't have A-list actors usually.
Anthony Hopkins and the guy that should have been
Pennywise.
Pete Davidson.
Oh, Pete Davidson. Oh, yes. I got Pete Davidson's vibes from him. He's one of the Pennywise characters, I think. One of the Skarsgård guys.
Yeah.
But yes, the acting I thought was wonderful. I thought the acting was great. I thought the director was fine. But sometimes you need a script. Sometimes you need a script. The next 1-star or less review comes from Damon C. One of the worst movies in recent memory. Boring, pointless, and an alter I think it's ultra waste of time and money. Astoundingly bad on every level.
Wow, you picked some real harsh ones, man.
I picked the ones that said something more like I hated this movie.
Hey, gotcha. The last 5-star comes from Daniel N. Oh man, don't. The last 5-star review comes from Daniel N. Oh man, I don't see how it got such a low score because that's crap. I saw the preview and my face lit up. This movie was amazing start to finish with a little bit boring in the middle, but overall 5 stars all day.
My question is, what part was boring in the middle if you thought the rest of it was exciting? Because there's really no lull.
The beginning was the most boring part.
Exactly. Unless we're talking about the time where they're in the car together talking to each other or something. I don't. The last 1-star review comes from Local G. This is from your Local G. I was really enjoying this movie, but the ending made me regret it. I never rate movies. I felt I had to rate this one out of sheer disappointment. And very similar to what my LP said in the movie ISS. Excellent movie. Stick the landing. If they would have stuck the landing, it'd be an excellent movie. He's saying that they really didn't stick the landing on this film.
You know what? My opinion has changed of this movie. I actually just changed my rating. So the WTF, which is this time, was the first, comes from Caleb W. It was 5 stars, and I don't have the date, but that's no big deal. Scary, fun, exciting. Bill crushes it.
That would be Bill Skarsgård as Eddie. He does a great job. I'm very convinced that he's really trapped in that thing and he's dying up in there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the date was from 2025, considering the movie.
Yeah, I don't know but whatever. Well, you heard us talk about the movie. We heard about what the reviewers thought about this movie. Now let's go ahead and get the scores from Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes scored this movie at 64%, while you, the audience, that's you at home, you all scored this movie at 74%.
I'm actually surprised. Maybe I'm just a dick.
And now it's time for Jason and I to go ahead and rate this movie. I will kick us off. First off, yeah, I'll recommend this movie to my surgeon. I almost didn't for a second, but I think I'd recommend it to my surgeon. They might find it interesting. It was a clever concept enough for me. It was the first time I've seen a movie like this, so it kind of worked. The whole time I thought Pete Davidson should have been in it and not Bill Skarsgård. I think it would have actually been a little bit more believable from like a New Yorker. But um, for what it was just dark. It was really dark. They could have lightened it up. They could have shaved off probably like a half an hour. So with that, my was 3 tree movie is now 1 tree and a stump.
Now it's my turn.
I would say, like the reviewer said before, good acting and good directing. Script wasn't there. We're talking about, like I said earlier, like you said months ago, sticking the landing. I did not like the end of this movie. I didn't. Did you want to say something? Go ahead. You can go ahead.
I'm
Fill
so
in.
sorry. Yeah, they should not have survived. They shouldn't have survived and end it with the daughter having the message from her father. Like,
Yes.
and like that's just like, show the phone saying the message sent, or like,
Mm-hmm.
that would have been a
And
better.
that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, that would have been a perfect good ending to this dark, just mean movie that it was. But they didn't even do that. Or at the very least, something more to where the daughter and the father comes up and has the bicycle. It's like, oh, everything's good now. No, he's still a piece of crap. He hasn't done anything to atone for anything. You think, okay, you know what? Okay, I did not like the ending. Um, a half an hour off this movie, like you said, now you have a TV show. That's basically because it's 1 hour long. Um, but the acting was fine. But this is a example of Die Hard or Speed, um, phone booth. Somebody stuck in a situation they can't get out of. It's just one person this time, though. It's basically the same thing. Or 127 hours or any of those type of movies. Um, I said I would recommend it to my surgeon. I would because it wasn't a terrible movie. Um, I was started at basically 2 trees when I came into this, and I'm going to stay at 2 trees.
Well, there you have it, folks. Jason and I not too far apart. He had it at 2 trees. Dropped my rating while discussing this movie to 1 tree and a stump. If you watched this movie, let us know what you thought about this movie. Tell us in the comments, and we'll share your comments on the air or on the episode, whatever you want to call it. But until Monday, next time is when we'll see you next. So here we go. See you later, everybody.